All right, what is going on, guys? Young46 is going to be our first podcast. So we are lucky to have Jsmithers. We're going to have Jsmithers on, and we're going to talk to him a little bit. What's going on, Josh?
How's it going?
Good, good, good. So if you guys don't know, Josh is the runner-up in the first E-Tour event in Abu Dhabi. He really likes the term runner-up. So yeah, we're going to talk to him a little bit. So let's see, Josh, you're what, like 57 years old? No, that's what, 32. Yeah.
33.
33, okay. Yeah,
33.
you're getting up there. Getting up there.
It's not, it's not cutting short here.
All right, from Illinois. Yeah, I think, like, from my perspective, the thing I was curious about is, like, obviously you qualify. So let's start with, like, that final round. Were you nervous coming into the final round?
Of the qualifier, of the brackets you're talking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So bracket final, you win, you go to Dubai.
Yeah, knowing that I had to play Darius, who's a Mizo. I'm not sure if that's correct, but yeah, Darius. Knowing he's a good player, knowing he's been pretty strong lately, I was a little nervous, but I got off to a real good start.
Okay.
Was making the putts I needed and felt pretty good as the round went on.
Yeah. After you got done, were you excited? I mean, how'd you feel? I don't know. Like, everybody's a little different.
Right. Well, there was like that initial sense of excitement, and then I was like, "Oh crap! I gotta tell my wife." So that part was kind of interesting, but you know what? She was super supportive, which helped with the excitement for sure.
So how did the flight go? Obviously, you got the trip. How long was your flight?
13.5 hour nonstop flight out there.
Well, you got nonstop all the way.
I got nonstop on the way out there, which was actually pretty nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I did have a kid sitting next to me
the whole way.
So his mom was sitting there with me. And she was asking me if she could have my seat, which was really depressing because I had the window seat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I know you got a kid and all, but like, so I ended up giving up my seat, but this little kid's driving his toy fire truck on my face while I'm trying to sleep for like 13 hours. So that was a interesting flight.
So you get there that evening, you probably get there at what, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah, roughly landed sometime in the evening, about 5-ish.
So all the hotel, did they have someone take you there, or how did like transportation work? Or did you have to like get a cab?
No, the DreamHack guys were there. One of them was there to pick us up, so he was waiting there with a little E-Tour sign. So he picked us up. We waited for a couple more guys, and he cabbed us back to the hotel.
So it actually had the E-Tour logo and said like, did it say Josh or Jsmithers?
No, it just said E-Tour. It was on his phone, actually. He was just holding it up above. All I see is E-Tour above everyone's head.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Did he speak English?
He did, yeah.
Okay.
He was a Denmark guy, yeah.
Ah, gotcha. All right, so you get there and then you go to the hotel, and that's kind of when you meet everybody?
Yeah, that's we were the last group in to fly in, so everybody was already there waiting. So got to, do the meet and greet, and then we all went walking around Abu Dhabi in the middle of the night, which is
middle of the night.
Seemed pretty good idea at the time, but
yeah, what could go wrong? No doubt. All right, so then you go there, and then it was like the next day you guys had production, right?
Yeah, the next day was media day, so they got us up at like 6 in the morning. We had breakfast, and about 7:15 in the morning, we all cabbed. Took 2 cabs, and it was interesting how we kind of migrated to all the US guys migrated to one cab, and all the European guys went to the other cab. So we all got a good laugh out of that.
Okay. So you were with Americans. Were you Casey or Chef UF, Golf X3, Peyton, Luke D9? Mm-hmm. Who were the other Americans? Is that it?
That was it. That was us 4, and then
like split evenly.
It was split evenly. Yeah, Mags, Birchie, Sebaku, and Javier went in the other one. Yep,
Javier being Herjavimi. Okay.
Yeah, Herjavimi.
Gotcha. So then you get there nice and bright and early, and kind of how'd they start production day? I'm curious.
So production day, they brought us in. They had our own little shack they gave us, and they
shack. Gave us hold on, what do you mean shack?
Like a shed.
A shed.
That was our like room.
Okay.
Per se. So we went in there. They gave us a little rundown, and then what was nice is they put us right on the first hole fairway of the actual golf tournament going on. So we all got to sit there and watch the golf tournament as we waited for them to call us up.
Yeah.
So they would do it one by one. They were just calling us around to do, shots. They did the interview with me.
Which was most of the video was you. You dominated it.
Yeah, almost as much as Golf X3 dominated me in the final round.
So when you're walking around the course, that was the first hole you were walking around?
That's the first fairway right there. Which is pretty cool.
And that was bright and early in the morning, right?
Yeah. We got there about 8 o'clock in the morning the first day.
Ooh, okay. So pretty early. So that was just all production. That was like, you said something like 12 hours, right?
Yeah, it was an all-day event.
Why did it take 12 hours?
Dude, I wish I knew.
Because our production took 2, like tops.
Right. Well, when we first got there, we kind of got a little free time where we wandered around a bit, and they were setting up everything. But then eventually, once they started getting into it, we did the hero shots, they called them, which is just the stills of us, and then they did the interviews and walk-arounds, and probably by evening time, they finally had the actual stage set up, so they gave us like an hour of practice.
An hour each, or an hour just
like in general? Like 4 people logged in, and we just played under their accounts. Like I just sat there as soon as I was played on Mags's computer, so he got done. I just played on his account basically, just to hone in the meter.
Technically multi-accounting. Okay.
Yeah. Which we can't tell WGT that.
Well, I heard you won a 1K ready go for him too. Just not a big deal.
Just finished the last 4 holes.
Yeah, it's not bad. All right, so I was really curious about the course selection. So did that happen the night before or the day of?
No, that was media day. We did that all on media day. Yep. And yeah.
So how did that work? They just like you knew who your first 3 pool play matches were going to be. So then you just went like one by one and said, this is what we're vetoing, or?
Yeah. He came up to the higher seed, got to veto first.
Okay.
So in my bracket, since I was the 2 seed, I was the highest seeded player in my side of the bracket. So I got the veto first on.
Yeah. So my thought process would be that actually I would rather be the other way around. I would rather them. Too. I think the higher seed should eliminate, of course. Then I get to pick from the 2 which one I like.
And that is something I brought up. I'm like, well, kind of as the higher seed, don't you think I should have the final say in where we play in? But it, that this is how they wanted it, so.
Right. So did you did you already have like a really good idea? Like, did you do a deep dive and say, okay, I think this person would not play well on this course, or did you just kind of wing it?
In the round robin, I wanted to play all 3. So my veto process was based off what I think the other person might choose.
Yeah.
Even though, maybe they feel a little more comfortable there, I kind of wanted to spread it out and play all 3 courses during the veto process. Yeah,
that's not a bad idea. That way you kind of had them going into the finals, or what was the thought?
The thought was to see where I play well on this version. And, if I play all 3, at least I know, like I played Sebaku at St. Andrews, and I was trying a couple different things because I had my side locked up. So the thought process was, let's see how I play here. Let's see how I play there. And then I realized quickly that St. Andrews on that version is not for me.
Gotcha. So one of the things I'm interested in is, obviously the live event I was at was Flash, and then a couple people from Denmark previous year were Flash. And one of the issues we had were the computers were different. Like the meter was different on one computer on another, right? They played differently. Were they the same on all the computers, or what with this version?
They weren't during practice day, and it's something that we brought up. It was a big issue. Was if you're facing the stage, the left side, the left 2 computers were great, and then the right 2 were terrible. I mean, the meter would go about 3/4 of the way to the ding, and then it would go da 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 da.
Yeah.
And so we had a kind of issue. So they brought in somebody, actually, a technical guy came in and fixed it all. So the next day, dude, it was perfect.
Oh, that's cool. Deal. So in terms of matches, so of your matches, now who did you think was the easiest match? So I still watched it all, so I have my thoughts, but
right. Well,
maybe not the worst player, right? We're not trashing the player, but
it was the match against Chef UF.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything to do with him. We played Wolf back 9, and I think we played 7 holes.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I was like 10 under through 7. So that was.
Yeah, you were crushing it, and
yeah.
Chef UF and I had talked about course selections prior to that, and my only advice to him was to not play you. I said, whatever you do, don't play him on Wolf Creek back nine, because I looked at your score history. I was doing some research on everybody. I'm like, he's tearing it up, like he's shooting really low every time he plays there. But then Casey said, well, I'm playing pretty well too. So then he wanted to take you on there on your best course. So
he felt good after his first match, and so he decided, and he likes Wolf from what I understood too. He wanted to play it as well. So
and he plays well there. It's just that was tough. So when you both feel that's your best course, that's always interesting. But I'm sure you were happy when he picked that course.
Absolutely. And Wolf back nine is can you get off to that 4-under start? Is there a way to go birdie eagle? And if you do, you're in great shape to shoot a great round there.
Right. Yeah. So kind of what was your strategy? Were you just playing aggressive, or did you have a strategy for each course?
The first match against Birchie, it was I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Birchie being Birchie.
Yep.
Great player. And then also, this is my first live event, and I'm going up against one of these guys who's been to him. Plus, he's just very unflappable. He's very solid.
Mm-hmm.
But the strategy was just play to my strengths with stuff in the right position and make the correct putt.
Yeah.
So once I made the first putt on number 10 at Pebble, I felt great after that.
So when you say you were nervous, like for me, when I was on the first tee against like Malini, which was my first match in Vegas, my hands were shaking so bad I couldn't even hardly move the mouse. What were you doing?
It was similar. You know what? When I get a little nervous, I don't shake, but I get antsy.
Yeah.
So I could feel it. I could feel myself getting a little bit antsy, a little bit, moving around in the chair a lot, and I try to combat that with conversation. So that's why if you notice, you watch and you see me talking a lot.
Yeah. No,
it keeps me calm.
Yep, same here. But yeah, it was I was like, oh my god, I could my hands were just I was shaking all over the place. It was bad.
Oh, without a doubt.
But as soon as I hit the first tee shot, I was like, deep breath, all right, we got that done. And then as soon as I hit my first approach, I was fine. It just took me 2 shots. How long until you felt okay, this is just a normal round?
The first putt I had about I can remember the putt. It was just over a half grid breaking putt, and I knew if I could find a way to make that, it would settle me in, because it wasn't a gimme by any means. It was 10 feet. Yeah. So after I saw that drop, I center cupped it. I felt really good about the entire round after that.
Nice. I can't remember. Were you? I don't think you were involved on the side that had the drama, whether Mags made it Luke D or Herjavimi. It was this 3-way tie, right?
It was, yes.
Yeah,
it was really strange because they all beat each other, so there was no rhyme or reason to why somebody should go through.
What did they decide? How did they decide that? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure they ended up having to go off because Luke D9 beat Mags beat Herjavimi, and Herjavimi beat Luke D9, so it was really strange.
Yeah.
But they went off who won.
It was cumulative wins. Yeah.
2 up, 1 up, 3 up, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. That's right, which means that it ended up being Luke that moved through, right? Or was it Mags?
Yeah, Luke and Mags went, and no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Luke and Mags went through, and Herjavimi got left out.
Yep, that's right. Okay. So in terms, you make it all the way through, and then by the time you make it to the finals, are you just it's money from here, or how are you feeling going against Peyton after he was kind of killing everybody?
Well, I shouldn't have been in the finals, if I'm being honest. I played Luke D9 in the semis, and I wasn't nervous at all, but I just didn't make any shots. I wasn't making the right shots, and I wasn't leaving myself the correct putts, so I was in trouble. And he was up, he was up 1, going into 18, and I ended up getting it back, and I felt really good after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that point, it was I'm in the finals. Peyton's been on fire, so if I could find a way to steal one from him, that'd be great. But I knew at that point he was probably a little bit stronger than I was going in.
Yeah, that was the epic 14-yard pitch or something like that on 18 he hit.
Yeah, he pitched it instead of flopped it. With those clubs, you got to flop that shot, and he went with what he would do with his normal clubs, pitch it, and it's an easy pitch, but with those,
Yeah, that was tough. I think I was just like befuddled when I saw. I was like, no,
Right.
what's he doing?
I was
Um,
I was waiting for his the pitch and it never did. I'm like, no, don't do it. And then he did it, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
so
And
you're,
I knew at
yeah,
that point I had the match.
yeah, that was, oh wow, that was gut wrenching. So yeah, kind of how'd you get into playing WGT? I've never actually asked you that.
Honestly, I used to work a job at a storage container yard, and I worked the night shift, and I was the only person there. And we had a computer sitting in there where I checked in truck drivers. I I Googled um, free games, and WGT popped up, and that was it.
You played it like you just played it all the way through WGT.com or?
Yeah, yeah, always
Okay.
through WGT.com. Did the
Gotcha.
WGTLS when it was here, but
Did you? I didn't know you played in that.
oh yeah,
Okay. I
with
kind of
no.
just started. What year did you start playing then? Like 11 or 12?
When was I? 2011.
2011. Okay, so it was pretty big back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
It was still moving forward.
Hmm.
Gotcha. So after all you went through with the trip and everything, would you do it again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I want to do it now.
And which both of us we were supposed to go to Denmark, but it got postponed. So
It
we're
did.
still kind of waiting. We were supposed to be in Vegas, leaving Wednesday or Thursday,
Wednesday or Thursday? Yep.
and that got postponed. So we had a couple of live trips we were going to be together. All right. So what do you think? What do you think makes you so good? What separates you from the average player?
I have a photographic memory, which in
Really?
yeah, it's a beautiful thing in this game, right? So when I play this game, um, I remember everything. Just like I was telling you, I remember I had a just over half grid putt, 10-footer versus Birchie on number 10 at Pebble Beach, 3 months ago or 2 months ago. I can actually see, previous times I've been in this location, this location.
Well, hold on. How photographic are we telling? Like you can remember like a question on a test in fifth grade type of deal, or
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. Like, yeah, that's pretty much how I got through school was I could just run the test down, you do the practice test. I just look at it all and then that's that's how I got through school.
huh. And then so obviously you and I play a completely different game. So you're a field player. I'm a math player.
Yep.
So you don't do any calculations in your head or anything. So if you look at it and say, 110-yard shot with a 10-mile-an-hour straight headwind, how do you go about, talking about that to yourself?
Well, I do math. It is in my head, but so if I was going to see, like you said, 110, say neutral situation, flat shot in,
Yeah.
110, you got that 10 mile in your face. My base is everything I base is off halfback. So if I were to see that, I know that I'm playing about 116 halfback with that wind.
Okay. So did you like go into practice mode to figure this out, or it's just like playing the game? You just figured over time.
It just over time. I do practice mode on some holes just because they confuse me, like Kiowa, pretty much the
Mm-hmm.
entire course. But yeah, for the most part, it's just repetitive playing over and over again. And 9 years playing the game, I've played the course a few times now.
Yeah. So what made you choose like halfback over fullback?
Once I started to get to the higher level balls, um, I noticed that fullback was cutting off a lot of my yardage because I used to play religiously fullback.
Yep.
But the higher level balls, all of a sudden, it's cutting off 15 yards instead of 5 yards or 6 yards. So that to me was easier to just play the halfback role
Yeah, that makes
to get
sense.
to get the correct yardage.
Okay. So are you a around the greens? Are you a pitch, chip, or flop? If you got to
It
make it,
pitch, 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 all the way to 38 yards.
38 yards pitching.
38 yards is my final number for pitching.
Wow, that's a lot higher. I usually don't go past 25, so that's interesting. So you use the 56 pitch.
I love the 30, yeah, the 33-yard pitch with the 56 degree. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Wow. How much release do you play?
Depends on the shot, but for the most part, fullback is roughly like 4 yards of release.
Yeah.
So I base it off of that. So if I got that, what do you like 36, 37 yarder, I'll come up to like quarterbackish.
Okay. And then one of the interesting things you told me is your ding rate on the new version's like what, around 30 to 50% sometimes?
I'd say if I had to average about 40-ish.
40-ish, which is just unbelievably high. So what's been your secret for hitting the ding on that version?
Playing it way too many times. I was terrible. Like, you pop open that new version, you try to hit the ding, and next thing you know, you got 6 dings on 55 shots, and you're like, what did I do?
Yeah.
But it's just repetitive, the same thing, just over and over again. And I actually try to hit late, which is key, I think.
So you on just that version or just in general?
No, just on that version.
Just on that version. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and a lot of people like Joe, they actually don't hardly move the aimer and they just miss sting like Sebaku does on the flash version.
Yes.
Which I've heard he's interesting to watch in person. Was he? No, he wasn't at your event, was he? No,
he was. He was.
Yeah,
he was.
So did he play the same way where he just miss stinged everything?
He did, and it's absolutely crazy to watch him play because he's so good.
Yeah.
And to watch him miss a ding by like 1.25 inches, like on the screen, you're like,
which is a lot.
Where is that going? And then the thing would center cup, and you're like, what?
So even putting?
Yeah, he would putt, he would hit everything.
Wow.
Irons, the whole 9 yards, man. It was absolutely crazy to watch.
It's crazy. I didn't know that. I knew he did it on irons, but I assumed he aimed his putter. So.
No, rarely did he move the cursor on the putter unless it was extreme.
Got to be weird on that version just because of the amount of forgiveness is like it's so variable. That's got to be a struggle a little bit.
I think ultimately that was his downfall in Abu Dhabi.
Yep.
And it's because he's a very, very good player, but that new version just kind of wore him out.
Yeah. So in terms of E-Tour going through that whole process, so when you go to the next one, what's something you learned that you want to do different this time?
Sleep.
Okay.
I was so backwards on my sleep schedule. When I came into the final day where we were actually playing,
yeah,
I was on I think I slept like an hour and a half the night before.
Oh.
It's, 10 hours behind in my time. I think it was 10-ish, but it was just a mess.
Yeah. Oh no, it gives you did you get like the jet lag where you felt sick and it took like a day to feel better?
I didn't get the sick, but I got the just exhausted.
Yep.
Like 24/7, I just could not function properly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's tough and that's hard to get over for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So in terms of this version, what changes, maybe not competitively, but just general changes are you hoping that they make to the version?
I would love to see just some of the more flash qualities come in. Just as simple as being able to hover over my ball that's on a fairway or on a green and seeing the exact, yardage that I'm out or the other person's out or how many feet. I think that to me is just a small change they could definitely make.
I think competitively it would be good because for me, when I have to calculate everything, if I already know I'm 147 out and I already know this hole's downhill 5 every time, that gives me that valuable time to figure out how far I want to hit this shot.
And with E-Tour and going to the 45-second timer live, it's more of a, you want to know ahead of time. Like you're saying, I want to be able to compute, whatever I need to in my brain prior to getting up to my ball. So that way I can just get to my club, make my spin choice and hit the ball.
Right. And it gives you that 45 seconds to just focus on the shot rather than what distance I want to hit.
Correct. And when I'm playing tee shot, say you hit a tee shot and on this hole, I know you're at some awkward number. I don't want to be there. So I'll back off a driver. Now, if I'm not paying 100% attention to where you're landing, all of a sudden I can't hover with the ball and see how far away you are.
Right.
And that frustrates me.
That's another thing, talking about that. With the pressure on the line, would you rather hit first or second?
Second all day.
Why's that?
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I like to hit second off the tee, but I love to hit first into a hole.
Okay.
Because yeah, definitely. And not that I want to be further away on the putt, but I prefer to putt first too, because if I make my putt, all the pressure is on the other person.
Yeah. So have you found, like for me, I know like I personally struggle with left to right putts, and I find right to left putts easier. Does it really matter to you or not?
Right to left.
Yep.
No, actually, it's the opposite for me.
Oh, really? You like left to right?
I struggle more with a pull putt where you're going, left to right. Yep.
Okay. Oh, well, that's the same thing. I like right to left. The same thing for you then.
Yeah.
You like right to left. And I don't know if that's
Yeah.
like being. Are you a righty in like real life or?
I am a righty. Yes.
I wonder. I'd be interested to see because I like in real life golf. I hit right, but I putt left-handed.
Oh, you're weird, huh?
Yeah. I'm one of those people that just putt left and hit right. So, I used to play right. So I would putt right too, and then I broke my putter one day because I got mad. And then my friend was a lefty, so I finished out the round with his putter, and I putted beautifully, and I've never putted right-handed since. So
that's interesting.
That's kind of how it worked for me. So I did that right when I got started with the game. All right, so how many hours a week do you really spend playing the game? Obviously, we heard what they said on the e-tour, but we know they got Mags' wrong, or he gave him a different number.
Far too many hours is the right answer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get in a grind mode.
Yep.
And you'll spend just unbelievable amount of hours playing this game. So honestly, if I had to break it down a week,
yep.
Shit, man.
It's bad when he was like,
right. Jesus. I know. I don't want to say it. It's got to be. It's probably a day's worth.
24 hours in a week?
Yeah, ish, and that's probably low, if I'm being honest.
It's probably low.
Yeah, okay. There's some nights, you get on and next thing you know, you've been on for 8-9 hours playing till 3 a.m.
Yeah, I've never done that before. I don't know.
Didn't we do that last night?
Maybe. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, especially like when you're preparing for an event. Like you get a little more serious about it for sure. So yeah, in terms of new players, like let's say there's new people watching this stream, what would you tell them for advice?
Advice for new players in this game. Don't give up. It's a pain. The game is tough when you first start, and it's demoralizing at times, especially when you're watching people who play well.
Mm-hmm.
And you go out there and you think, oh man, that guy just shot 9 under on these 9 holes, and then you go out there and next thing you know you're +4, and you're like, well, that was a little frustrating, but just don't give up because it does get better. The higher level, the better clubs.
Yep, absolutely. How long did it take you to shoot your first round in the 50s?
Oh, you know what? I beat Bethpage up for months until I finally shot in the 50s. It was probably 4 or 5 months in the game before I touched a 50, and that was playing every night. And at work, I worked 12-hour shifts, so I'd play for 10 and a half of the 12 hours every single night. And it was consistently, now I'm 5-6 over, now I'm even, and you get to the 68, 65, and then eventually you get it down.
And I think that's probably, that's about the same for me. It probably took me close to somewhere around that 6-month mark. I remember it was at Kiowa, and it was a virtual tour. It was at the IOI or Transamerica or something like that at Kiowa. It was sometime in January, I think January 2014 or something like that.
There you go.
But, we didn't have as much information back then, right? We didn't have people streaming like us and YouTube videos available. You just had to go and learn it and hope people in your country club knew what they were talking about and didn't give you shit advice.
Correct. I actually got kicked out of my first country club ever, Tin Cup Country Club, because I spam Bethpage, right?
Yep.
Hard. And then I got the V2 Rapture irons, which at the time were the top notch for the lower level players. I think they were level 47s.
Yep.
And I finally got these clubs, and I played it. And there was a tournament there. It was a monthly tournament, and I played it, and I shot 55 randomly.
Cheater.
Right. Yeah. So I get all of a sudden I log back on the next day, and I'm kicked out of the club. And I got a message from the owner saying that there's no way, it's not possible to shoot 55 on Bethpage, and I am a cheater.
Well, clearly, yeah. Clearly cheating. So how many times have you been called a cheater?
Shoot. I'm gonna be nice and say more than I can count on my hands and toes.
Yeah, it's probably a lot. Yeah. Well, we go through that cheat phase. Obviously, Taser and Hansi kind of made everyone feel like everyone was cheating.
Right, which was...
And I was kind of right there. I was right there, too. Like, I'm like, everybody's a cheat. I don't trust anyone.
Right.
Like, they're all cheating. Yeah.
I was a legend with Hansi, right? So I'm like... And this guy he's beating me by 1 or 2 strokes every tournament. And I'm like, this dude... It doesn't matter what I shot. It could be, I could go to Kiowa and shoot 19 under. He miraculously shot 20. And I'm like, dude, this dude's a cheating son of a gun.
And then you found out, oh, he really was.
Right. And then I wrote WGT like, hey, can I have all my credit? And they didn't respond to that one. So
they said no to that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So obviously, if people don't know, we have an alt shot tournament coming up next Saturday.
Yes.
Birchie is your partner. How do you feel?
I feel great.
What made you choose Birchie?
Birchie is Iceman, dude. So if you could give Birchie a nickname, he's Val Kilmer in the movie Top Gun. He is Iceman. He doesn't sweat a bead. His hands are still. I played against him that first match over there, and I'm all freaking out and twisting and turning. And he's just looking at me like, "Yes, Josh, that was a nice shot. Thank you."
Yeah, he's very like even when we were live, because I played live with him too. He's just like you don't know if he's happy, excited, depressed. Like he's just steady.
Yeah, he's steady Eddie,
calculated, and just very nonchalant. Not a big deal. So yeah, he handles pressure very well. Okay. All right. So in terms of we talked about the game, talked about advice for new players. What's the weakest part of your game?
The weakest part of my game, I think, would be it's mental. It's my stubbornness to not learn. Like I playing with Peyton and playing with you, I watch you guys hit some shots that to me blow my mind. I mean the clubbing up and hitting the full back. I think it's my stubbornness not to learn that, because I feel like that in certain situations that would be huge for my game.
Yeah, well, yeah, I feel exactly the same way. Like watching you play some of those shots where you can get it close by taking less backspin. I'm like, God, I need to learn that, but I don't want to practice it. But
right.
It would be nice to learn.
I've done all this work to get to this point.
Right.
Now there's more? No.
Yep, absolutely. I feel the exact same way. Yeah, so you are grinding away. In terms of grinding, so this is a good question. What's the most amount of temps you ever had on an unlimited?
Oh my God.
How many would you say it is? Other than the 400 chances we did, last weekend or this weekend.
Right, I was about to say that. I was about to say that. I would have to say it wasn't an unlimited tournament, but it was for a tournament. It was the Pebble Beach Virtual Tour last year or 2 years ago, I believe.
Okay.
And I came out the gate and shot 52 or 51 in the first round, and I was in great position. And then in heavy wins, I shot 55 in the second round, so I was leading. So going into that third round, knowing that I just needed to find a way to post a good score, I played Pebble Beach until I could tell you how tall the rough was. I mean, I knew every single spot on that course. I played it so many times.
Yeah.
So that would be it. That and probably, like you said, this congressional one the other night where
we played it a little bit.
Just like 40 retries because number 2 haunted me.
Give or take. I couldn't birdie one, but yeah, it was a struggle. All right. Let's see. What's something interesting about you that people wouldn't know, other than your 5 kids that we saw?
I was going to say my photographic memory is probably one of them.
That is. I didn't know that.
Something interesting about me that nobody knows.
You have 2 eyes, right?
I have 2 eyes. 2 eyes, 1 nose, a couple ears. I drive trains, which is kind of interesting job. A lot of people find that to be a little bit strange.
It is cool. How do you get into driving trains? How does one find their way in the industry?
Google, man. Same way I found WGT. I Googled I was fed up with my job, man, and I Googled, highest paying jobs available right now, basically. And I didn't have to have a degree for it or anything like that. I didn't go to school to be a trained engineer or nothing. So
Yeah.
so when I found this job, I applied, and they literally called me the next day and were like, "Hey, come in for this interview." Did, and next thing you know, I'm a train conductor, and so that was that. But when I was 12, this is my favorite thing. It's like my claim to fame. When I was 12, my travel baseball team qualified for Cooperstown, New York tournament.
Ooh.
So we went out to Cooperstown and played at Dreams Park, and we qualified the first 7 games. We were the number 1 qualifying seed out of 50. We were 7-0. And then we ended up going 11-0 and making the semis, where we eventually lost. But if you hit a home run as a little leaguer, you get to sign the ball, and they put it in the Little League Hall of Fame. What? So that's my mini claim to fame. I got my ball sitting on a little mantle in the Little League Hall of Fame.
Now, okay, so for Dream Park, for one, because of coronavirus, they canceled all the tournaments there this year, which is a shame.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And then it's like 200-foot fences all the way around, right?
Yeah, so, 200 all the way around, 8 foot high on every park but one. One park left field had a short fence.
Oh, from the games I've seen, they hit like 9 home runs a game now. I don't know how many they hit back then, but it's like a home run derby there.
It was not as much then as it was now. We used to have to use the 2 1/4-inch barrels then.
Oh, okay.
They use
2 3/4 now.
Yeah, now they use the 2 3/4, which would have been huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were using 2 1/4, which made it a lot more difficult. But you'd still see 4 or 5 a game.
You know, I like you more because you're a baseball guy. That's like
absolutely hardcore baseball.
Yeah, I coach travel baseball. I've been doing it for about 10 years, so we're real hardcore into it here at this house.
Yeah, I played all the way through college. I played adult league.
I didn't know. What position?
Second base, shortstop, middle infield.
Nice. Okay. Yep. Got a strong arm or not?
I do have a cannon, actually. Still to this day. Thank you.
Really?
Yeah, I have an absolute rocket ship.
How hard are you gonna throw it?
Upper 80s in high school and college. Dang. And I still can touch, mid 80s now. Really? I only got a few of them now, though. There's not as many left. But.
Yeah, I can throw one. I can probably touch 80, but then I can't feel my arm for like 3 days.
No, yeah, I only get I can throw like 6 or 7, and then it's over.
Oh, love it. All right, cool. I think that's everything. I certainly appreciate you taking like 38 minutes to talk to me. I didn't realize it was that long. Good deal. Okay. All right, any last words for anybody? I mean, motivational time.
Motivational time. Okay. One, don't ever doubt me when we're having quiz night again.
Yeah.
WGT World.
He did win.
Yeah.
Actually, you've dominated.
One person chose me, Big Country. Shout out.
He did. Yeah, he didn't claim his balls yet, by the way.
But yeah, outside of that, grind, man. Keep grinding. This game's awesome. I've met some of the most cool people I've ever met. You get to do super cool podcasts.
Super cool, yeah.
Super cool podcasts, and just grind away, man. Let's go.
Have you ever had anyone come up to you in real life, like say they saw you on the game?
Yeah, after Abu Dhabi, actually, quite a bit.
Did you?
Yeah. So, because it got posted to Facebook, and my family was, obviously following it. So it trickled down from my family into uncles and then friends and then just random people. I had people from my work come up to me like, "Hey, so you were supposed to be on a train, but you were in Abu Dhabi."
Oh, I love it. Cool. All right, Josh. Appreciate it. Much appreciated, man.
Not a problem. Talk to you later.
See ya.